Okay. Nice. We got a nice little group here again tonight. I think we got everybody from the first time around, right? That's cool. Got some retention. Nice.
Haven't scared anyone off, no.
All right, guys. So I was thinking about how to kind of structure this. And I think honestly what the best thing for me, and I'm open to feedback from you guys. I want to hear what you guys need too, but I think we should just kind of laissez-faire kind of go through some setups that you guys have been going through, especially since we're meeting on Monday. I mean, you guys have had a full week now to reflect on all the trades you've taken last week and all the back trading you may or may not have done over the weekend. And I think if we just kind of treat this as like a little study group where everybody can kind of be like, hey, this is like what I'm seeing. I'm kind of having some issues here. And then we can all just kind of give some feedback and then maybe do some back trading towards the end or in the middle, however we find our way to the charts. But how does that sound to you guys?
That's good.
That works for me.
That sounds good.
Nice. So with that said, does anybody have any burning questions that they can't figure out what the hell is going on? They just like, anybody have anything like that they just have been dying to be like, hey, I need to talk about that?
Lance, I would like to know that failed. I think is it Shopify or Square trade that you posted earlier?
Yeah, the shop trade.
What? Yeah. Why did you get out early? What was it that you saw?
That is a great question. Way to start us off, brother. Let's get right into that. Okay, so I'm going to share my desktop. Everybody see? Everybody see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Okay, let's go over to trading view. Oh, wait, let me pull you guys back up. I just accidentally. All right. Okay, so Shopify. Okay, Shopify. I see this candle, and do you guys remember what we talked about last week? Does everybody see why I'm licking my chops when I see this candle come in? Rich? Let me hear it, Rich. Tell me
did
why.
I look dumbfounded, man? Because you broke in below the support, the recent support there. So, and you've got a lot of resistance above you and nothing below you. Now there you go.
It's that simple. 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 Nice. Okay. So right away, we see this thing should be going lower, right? This is consolidation. This is a support level. This is support. This is a pivot here. We're below all this stuff. The EMAs are creeping. They were creeping up, but now with this gap down, now they're going to do this. So now everything's weighing down on this. I have all this support or now resistance weighing down on this thing. So right away, the RR is great. I have a place to put my stop. And I don't even need a new low of day because if I put my stop like right here-ish, and I get triggered in on a retest of like this pivot down here somewhere, then right away, I don't need a new low of day and I'm already at an R. So if we come up, and I think I had to set up a little higher. Yeah, let's set up like here because I don't want to put it right there. I want it to come up, and if it's going to test these pivots, then it should at least come into the gap. It's not like it's going to stop right here. It's probably going to go into the gap a little bit. And maybe that just comes from experience, just seeing them enough. But I don't want to put it right here because, and I know this is something that gets Shep all fired up sometimes. If this candle gets taken out, it doesn't automatically mean the price is going to go higher. Even though there's this bearish volume, that doesn't mean that like, oh my God, everyone's trapped. This thing's just going to rampage to the moon. That's not really how it works. Like the gap is now acting as strong resistance. The gap in and of itself is strong resistance. So when I say the gap, I mean to fill the gap. And then all this stuff is resistance. We got this up here, got the EMAs. So I don't mind if price comes up above this. In fact, that just gives me a discount. Well, not a discount. I mean, I'm selling, but I'm getting a better price.
Right.
So I don't mind putting an entry right there. So I think I set the trade up something like this. I think it was worse than this. It wasn't this good. I'll see you on the next candle. But right away, just to like, I should be profitable immediately. I should be profitable immediately, and then the trade should tell me if it's not going to work, and then it should give me a chance to get out. But I'm expecting this S curve and then maybe a retest and then lower. And if it goes lower, it's going to trade down quite a bit. And we could go out to the daily chart and see like support and resistance out there. But I'm basically looking at this thing like, if this thing gets taken out, then there's nothing really around to stop it. So I set that trade up, and I usually wait for the second candle to come in, and I saw this candle and I was like, okay, I'm not like in love with it, but I'm still considering this trade, because at this point in time, all the other trades that I was looking at, they made like another huge red candle basically. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not shorting any of these. It just already made like a huge move. I don't know if you guys were looking at market open, but it was pretty red out there. It looked pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things bounced and recovered, and that's cool. But like, this was looking pretty decent to me still. It still was like within range. Like, I could still see it going lower. And I don't even need it to make a new low a day to get like 1.3. To get an R, I just need to get here, right to retest this level. So to me, it's looking like, okay, like this isn't a terrible trade. It's within all my roles. It's got good risk reward. It's got good stop protection. Is it like the best trade of all time where I expect to get like 2 Rs? No, but it's still a high probability trade, and I think I can get at least an R out of it. So for me, okay, whatever, I'll try it, because I still think that my stop is in such a great place that I can break even. So for me, it's the risk reward is still super high, and it's still super high probability. And I'll show you, Ted, what I was thinking as each candle comes in. So this candle comes in, I'm like, okay, cool. So I think when this candle came in, my entry was like here still, and my stop was like here. And what I could have done better on this trade was, if I saw this candle come in, then I should have known by the way this candle closed strong like that we would probably get another candle before it started to do something like this. So I could have got a better entry. And that also would have allowed me to put my stop in an even safer spot up here.
So
I think-
you would have moved your entry before you would have moved your entry, is what you're saying? You would have gone in and reconfigured the trade?
Yes, if I wasn't triggered in already, I think I got triggered in like here,
Okay.
something like that. It wasn't my best setup for sure. Like, if I would have waited to see this candle close, I would have definitely set it up like this. Because this candle is so strong. Because guys, when we short, we want to get in as high as possible, right? As high as possible to still make sense. And if I get in basically at the high, then the trade should be profitable immediately. And I should be able to like obviously see it's not going to work. Like, it should come down here, and then since it failed this level, it should retest here and go lower. But I should be profitable immediately and have basically nothing to worry about and be able to see clearly that I'm going to get out. So that's why I like to get in as high as possible. So ideally, this would have been a perfect entry. And as we'll see as this plays out, I could have got an R out of this trade if I set this trade up perfectly like this. My setup wasn't bad. I actually do think it was like this. I don't think I did get triggered in on this candle, but I could have and should have taken it higher. So let's see what happens. No, I did get triggered in on this candle. I definitely did. So it was probably like this. Ish, it's probably like this. Yeah, I think I have my target somewhere down here. Yeah, so when this high wave candle comes in, I'm like, okay, well, I see a high wave. So price can definitely, I don't want to get out of the trade because price can still do this now, because this high wave, it can still go down and retest, and then I'm good. Because if it breaks below this high wave and then retest, there's no way I should lose any money on the trade, and I should just be able to hold it as long as I want, and it's going to be profitable basically no matter what. So when I see the high wave, I don't want to get out. Does everybody follow me? Is everybody with me so far? Now, with that said, when I see the high wave, I'm like, oh shit, this thing could now just blast my stop and destroy me. So that's why I didn't love my stop. I would have liked my stop to be up here. This wasn't a 10 out of 10 entry. This is like an 8 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10. So yeah, so I'm sweating a little bit because I don't like my entry as much as I would have had it been up here. But I'm sticking to my plan. I'm gonna see how this oops. Just a sec. Oops. I'm gonna see how this high wave plays out and assess from there. So next candle. I didn't love it as it was forming. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna get stopped out. This sucks. This is the worst day of my life. And then I saw this candle come in and I was like, okay, I'm a genius. I'm pretty good at trading. But when I see this candle come in, I immediately said, okay, this is no longer my target. This is no longer my target. Does anybody have an idea of why that's no longer my target?
No.
You look, because people are trapped, so it should run further because it gave you that high wick.
No.
No. Okay.
My target now becomes here. Down here at this level. Why?
Why?
2 reasons. My entry was not perfect. My entry was low. My entry should have been here. My stop should have been here. So this trades at 1.2 and this trades at 1.2. Look how much less this trade would have had to move to get to an R than this one. I mean, do you guys see how significant that is? That's a big ass difference. That's like a quarter of the range of this entire thing so far. That's a big difference.
Okay, but for me, looking at this setup without seeing before we see the candles, I would have been assuming if it broke above that red candle, why would I assume it's gonna retest that gap and go down? Is it just because it's a retest gap? That's why you're assuming it's gonna retest and short it instead of going long?
Well, I'm not gonna go long. I'm not gonna go long unless on the first. So I would go long if on the first candle. Okay, so on the first candle we sold off like this or whatever, and then it'd be tough. Okay, so the gap. Let me see where the gap actually was.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand, like, why would you put your entry so high above the first candle, assuming it's going to
Up here?
retest that and go down? Yeah,
Because that's just what they do generally. It's because I get a chance now to be wrong. Like if I put it here and price moves from all the way down here to all the way up here with no bear candles. And that's an important, Shep actually brought that up today. And I'm glad that we're talking about that, because had this thing came up like this and then given me 2 like bear candles, I wouldn't have, it's not the same trade anymore. I'm not trying to get it in anymore. I'm trying to catch this thing. Like the fact that it's 1, 2, 3, I didn't expect really even this 4th one. So really what I expected was it'll come up into this gap, but this thing is strong and I have all these moving averages. So I expect it to pull maybe like back up into here and then immediately fall, retest and go lower. So had I gotten like, oops, sorry. So had I not been in, damn it. So when we are still at this candle, oops. Right, because this is what I saw when I got into the trade. And like I said, this wasn't a 10 out of 10. I should have had the entry higher, like here, but I had it here. Because when I didn't see this green candle forming yet, I was expecting it to maybe do some kind of like I wanted it to like pull up, maybe close strong, and then give me one more green candle that would trigger me in. But I just got like this monstrous green candle. I've actually find it pretty hard to believe that I got in on that. I had to get higher. I don't think I would have got in on that. Let me go check the time on that trade really fast. Filled orders, time is it? 9:44. Yeah, so I guess I did get filled on that candle. Got filled somewhere like this. Yeah, so the reason that I don't mind it being in this gap, though, is because now price has gone from all the way down here to all the way up here without doing anything to retest. So it's not just gonna explode and just keep going forever. Like that's a bit, like look how big this move is. To get to my stop from down here with no break, it's pretty unlikely. It's gonna have to pull, but it's gonna give me an S curve somewhere. Does that make sense? Just the sheer size of from here to all the way up here, like I'll have some chance to react most of the time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I'm just basically, for me, like when I see that setup, when I see those green candles, I'm assuming it's going to reverse and go back up.
Even if it does, you could be 100% right. We'll see that.
Yeah.
We will see it, and you'll see it does that. You'll see what it looks like when it does that. So, okay, I got in here, my stop was here. Next candle, like we said, it's the high wave, right? So now the high wave's telling me it's either going to go down or it's going to go up. Right? Everybody together so
Mhm.
far?
Right.
Then
Mhm.
next candle, inverse hammer. I'm looking at my chops. Okay, I just got Harry Pottered basically. So the thing is, now Fadi, I agree with you. Now I'm thinking, okay, we got like up above this thing, and it could very easily come down, retest, go lower. But now I don't like being up here with like a close, and like it could also do this. I don't like that the high wave's there. This trade could have 100% still worked short. It could have 100% still worked short. But for me personally, if I'm wrong about what the trade is going to do, if I'm wrong about what the trade is gonna do, then I'm not trying to win anymore. I want to get in near the top. This thing almost stopped me out. So basically, if I'd have got in up here, I already made an R. So basically, if I get back to break even, I basically made an R on this trade. Does that make sense? Because it almost stopped me out. It covered an R's worth in the wrong direction. That's way too much for me. Like I was almost down $1,000. So if I can get like to like even down $100, that's a win for me. I'm no longer trying to make money on this trade. And so when I see this inverse hammer come in, I'm like, thank God, because now I might be able to win. I might be able to win small on this. Because does everyone see how this size of this S curve kind of makes sense, that it should come back down into here somewhere?
Yeah.
Just by the size of this move, you kind of see how like it should just kind of like whoop, come down in here, kind of retest this little thing. Does that make sense? Does everybody kind of see that?
Yeah, usually they retest like
Yeah.
50% of the candle, something like that.
So immediately, I think I moved my target to like here because I was like, okay, well, this is a pretty decent wick. This thing should come down here. It should even. I'm still trying to front run. I'm still not trying to get the like bottom of the move. So I think I put my target to like here or something, just a little bit, make a little bit of money on the trade, be wrong, whatever. Then this candle comes in. Now, Fadi, this is looking pretty bullish, and I don't think it's gonna rampage and just like reclaim, because like it's still a big move. So I don't think it's gonna like rampage out of here and just keep going. But at this point now that we get this close up here, and then everybody that was freaking out about this wick no longer has to freak out because price is already right back here. Now I'm like, okay, I'm not trying to win at all, because now do you see how with this other candle, the size now comes down to like this for an S curve, and we're retesting this stuff instead.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, okay, if I get down to here, I'm out. Because my original target was all the way down here. Do I think price is coming down there today? No way. Best case scenario, price does this and kind of trades down, sideways, whatever. Either way, it takes all day. I wanted to be in and out of this trade in 20 minutes.
Why didn't you just get out there if you thought it was going bullish?
I'll tell you exactly why I didn't get out there. That's an amazing, amazing, amazing question. Amazing question. Why did I not get out there?
Yeah.
Anybody have an idea?
I mean, you got lucky. I'm glad it came
Not
back
luck,
down
buddy.
and
That's not luck.
well,
That is chart structure.
Because you're expecting an S curve.
Exactly. So if I'm expecting an
Okay.
S curve, why would I just lock in a loss right here? My thesis
Okay.
is still valid. This is still the last level it needs to get past. My thesis has not changed. My spacing and my timing was a little off, but my stop, especially if I'd got it in up here. But still, right here, I mean, it's still got to take out this wick. I still have this pivot. I still have all this stuff. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bull candles in a row. Price has not done anything bearish since down here. I should still get an S curve. Why lock in almost a full R
Gotcha.
loss?
okay.
Now, did I trail my stop to the top of this wick? You bet your butt I did. Like I trailed it to like,
Yeah. Okay.
but I'm still expecting that S curve. So this is
Okay.
such a great question because if you're emotional and you're like, oh, dude, like, oh, no, I'm gonna lose.
It's going long. It's going
Yeah.
long. Yeah.
Then you probably mark it out right here. Like you just
Yeah. That's
flatten
what I
it.
would have
I don't
done.
even-
That's exactly what I would have done. I would
Me
have.
too,
I'm
Tad.
getting out. I'm getting out right
Me
now.
too. I would have done that too. And I lost
Yeah.
like thousands and thousands of dollars doing that. But then it comes back to that's
it
why I
comes-
put my stop there. I put my stop there for this reason. So I'm going to let it do
Mhm.
its job. And I'm not trying to win. I don't have any grand ideas that the price is going to pull a miracle.
Mhm.
I believe that's why I set the trade up this way. I'm going to give it a chance. And that's the difference between like, I still don't want to be in this. I still want to get out as soon as possible, but I'm not going to be emotional. I'm reading the chart. I expect an S
Which-
curve. I'm getting out.
Okay.
And let's see what happens. Oh, so that was my line. This is like, okay, I'm getting out like right here. I think it was like right here. Very next candle. Okay, thank God I'm out. I'm not going to lose any money on
Okay.
this trade. I was wrong because now look, this is what can happen. You can
Yeah.
do something like
Mhm.
this and eventually come and stop me out. So this is what happened. Look, next candle. I'm like, okay, well, I stuck to my thesis. And while it was coming down here, I was like, okay, I still expected to retest this level and then come up and do some shit like this. I still don't want to be in this trade. I still don't get an R out of this trade. So I don't care. I don't have FOMO. I don't want to be in the trade. And so what? I could have made, I don't know, like $200 or something, like $150. I don't give a shit. I didn't lose 1,000. Like
Right.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Like I took my money into the live market and took a trade and didn't lose a dime. It's a win, dude. Okay, so I got out of there. I got out right there, and then look what happens. Boop. Thank you.
Well played.
Thanks, dude. And yeah, I've seen this happen a billion times. That's why I play them like this. This
Yeah.
does not come from like, oh, just like I'll put things here arbitrarily. This is
Yeah,
why
you
I
didn't
set the
panic.
trades
You-
up like
you-
this.
You saw it was going long. You didn't panic like I would have done, and you say, "Oh, it's going to pull back, and I'm going to get out on the pullback." And
I didn't know it was going long, and I wouldn't have played it long. I didn't. It's not like I would have been like, okay, I'm gonna get out and then get in down here and try to get an R up to here, with like a stop somewhere like this. I didn't do that. You could have. It would have worked for 2 Rs, but for me, I'm just out. I don't know if it's going long. I don't care. All I know is I was wrong. It didn't
but
do
after
what I
those
wanted it
5
to
bull
do, and I'm out.
candles, after those 5 bull candles, you're like, it's not doing what I expected it to do. So don't panic and get out right now. Just, okay, what would happen if I was playing this long? If I was playing this long, I would expect a pullback soon. So I'm going to wait for the pullback to get out.
If I was playing this long, I would have not done. I would have at this. I wouldn't have even considered a long until.
No, but what I'm saying is after 5 bull candles, you would expect a pullback. So you're like, hey, I'm just gonna get out on the pullback. And
Exactly. And that's
Yeah.
why I structured the trades the way that I do, so that if they go
Mm.
against me, I will see it and I'll have a chance to react.
yeah,
And that's what this was. I mean, think of the strength it would take. And dude, I'll be the first to tell you, my setup was not perfect. My setup should have been like this. something like this. And I would have made an R on the straight. Look, I'd have got triggered in there. I would have been immediately profitable and pumped. Could have immediately trailed my stop to like here, because that wick should stay. That the EMA is now right there. Right? I'm licking my chops if I'm in this trade. And then I get that candle. I'm like, okay, I don't love that, but my stop has been trailed. I should get this S curve now. And let's see where an R would have been. R would have been like here. Okay, I'm pumped and I'm out. Boom. And if I wasn't already out and I'm long, I'm getting out right here. Oh, I'm sorry, short. I'm getting out right here. And if I'm trying to go long on this trade, go ahead and ask what you were going to say. Do you want me to put those drawings back?
No, I was just going to say I learned so much just in the last 5 minutes.
Nice.
It's amazing how much I just learned.
Awesome. That's amazing. Thank you for the feedback. Okay,
Yeah.
now let's look at how I would go long on this trade, which I wouldn't. Because if, like I said, I'm looking one direction, and if it doesn't work, I'm done. Don't care. I'm not chasing. I don't care. My R is big. It's big. So like, I would rather not lose and be right once a week than like take shitty trades and like be. But if I'm going to go long, so I see nothing that says I'm long yet, especially now that I see this. I'm like, okay, I'm probably not taking it long. But then I see this, and I'm like, okay, this kind of changes things for me a little bit. Does anybody else get that when they see that candle come in? Are they like, this is different than it was a candle ago? Does anybody else get that vibe?
Absolutely.
Why,
Mhm.
Chef?
Well, it's sucking up that wick. I mean, it's closing up that space right there. It's closing above those two moving averages. It's right at that other moving average. It's the fifth. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bull candles in a row. To me, it just seems like, it's pretty solid. There's not huge upper or lower wicks. It just seems like a solid candle. That closes above the inverted hammer that would typically signal the price is going to be dropping. So the price is not moving in the direction the prior candle would seem to indicate.
I pretty much agree with everything you just said. Now,
Which is what screwed me today. The price moved. So yeah, I learned that one about 2 hours ago.
we'll look at your trade after this. We'll look at your trade after this because we had a good
have to. It's
conversation
such a
about it.
shitty trade.
We don't have to if you don't want to, but we
No,
can
I'm kidding,
if you
man.
will.
Yeah,
But-
absolutely.
But this is why I'm not going long, is because Chef's exactly right. And now it should come down here and because it reclaimed this level, right? What do we say? The 3 R's: reclaim, retest, resume. It reclaimed this level. Now it needs to retest it, and then it can resume, right? So, but it's still in a downtrend. So I'm not going to long this thing because now I'm fighting this. If I long this thing, I'm saying, okay, I'm the special person. And today when I go long, it's going to change. It's going to rip out of here and change the whole trend. That's how powerful my trades are. I don't think that. I don't think that. So I'm not going to like say, oh, today's the day that it breaks the trend. If the trend wants to break, cool. I'll play it tomorrow when it showed me it broke. And now I have the trend working for me. Just like we played it. We could have played it this day. We could play it that day. Let it change. Let it show you. There's no need to rush. But, and I wouldn't long it, but if I did, do you see how it's a perfect retest. Look at that hammer. Chef, that's a hammer. I don't love it. I mean, I would, like I said, it's still counter trend, so I wouldn't play it. But like when we talk about piercing into a resistance lane zone on a retest with some volume, this isn't a 10 out of 10 hammer, but it's pretty good. Like it's good enough that if I'm in short already, there's not a chance I'm staying in above that hammer. I'm immediately trailing to that hammer. Immediately. It's that good. It's good enough. And in conjunction with everything else, like the reclaim, the close is above, and then it comes down here and it touches this, and it's close enough that it can actually overtake this and turn it around. So it's strong. But let's see what happens. Okay, so I think, let me put my setup back. Okay, so if I wanted to long it, we would have gone like this. We would have played it like this, right? We would have played the retest of this level, would put our stop down below this zone. Does everybody kind of understand that? Because this is now the little zone that this interacted with, this wick interacted with. And this wick interacted with. And this candle right here covered that entire zone. And then we got this wick that interacted with it and went back into like halfway through this zone. And we got this little wick that came into like halfway through this candle. Does everybody see that? Isn't that like neat? These little things like that.
You wouldn't
So-
look at it like because it already pierced through that resistance level and came back. Would it still
You
be a
mean
good support level?
Because of this?
No, the first and second, and I guess first and second candles, they went right through that resistance level.
Oh yeah, but that's old news. We're already back on top of that. So
So
since
you
we're
still
back on
consider
top
that
of it,
a good support level?
if we reclaim it, then it's no longer resistance, it's now support. We reclaimed it. Now we need to retest it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say that we reclaimed it until I see this candle. That to me shows, okay, we've closed above, and I mean, honestly, this one too. Like we've closed above, like we've reclaimed it. This level now will be, it's going to either bounce here or it's going to fall. Oops. It's either going to bounce off this level or it's going to fail it and then retest it. But either way, this tight little range here is now basically the pivotal zone that's relevant and in play. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So now that we've reclaimed it, which we agreed happened, which we agree happened on like these candles here. We reclaimed it. We closed above with some strength. I mean, even this candle, really, we closed above. So we reclaimed this level, and now we need to retest this level. So we still, as this candle is forming right here, as this candle is forming, we have no idea if this level is going to hold. No clue. And if it fails, it should come down past here. So this candle's forming. Everybody that's in is thinking, oh my God, it's going to fail. And then we'll retest and go lower. And so when this candle gets bought, when it gets bought and this wick gets formed, price just told us, okay, I'm going to come right down into the heart of this little zone right here. This is the top, this is the bottom. Remember the analogy with the 2 sheets of metal and then the gel in between? So this thing pierced through like a nail, put its little hole in the thing in the gel, and then it immediately got shot out. There was no real compression. It just poof, popped in and it got immediately pushed out. The gel hasn't been like weighed down into form. It just got boop, little pop, and then it's right back up. It's like nothing even happened. And all these people are pissed. I mean, I still wouldn't consider this like a crazy trap. To me, it's not really a trap. It's just confirmation that like this level should hold. It just tried to fail and it held. This is a retest, a great retest. So like I said, if I'm going long, right, we want to get in here and we want to put our stop here because so somewhere in here. I never get in right at the top. I always try to get like a better price and put it like, see, it's not like, my entry's not like deep in the zone, but it's not like right on top of it either. It's like, it's somewhere like in there. It's a better price. So I get filled. And I think the last thing we're talking about is does everybody understand why I put my stop here? And now we just talked about it, right?
I'm sorry. So would you place your order to go long after you see the hammer?
No, I'm already in. That hammer, if that hammer didn't trigger me in, I don't take the trade.
Okay. So you already assume it's gonna retest and go.
So
Okay.
okay, let's back up just a bit. So right here, right? Not this, and this isn't me, but I'm saying if you were gonna go long,
Right.
then you don't know you're gonna go long until you see this candle close, right? So now you can say, okay, I'm gonna get in on the retest of this level because this is the level that just got reclaimed. Now I want to retest it, so I'll put an entry like this. Now, when I see this candle come in, do you remember how I said that when I saw this candle to the short side, I would scoop my entry up so that I get a better price? Because how likely is it that price just goes like 1 penny lower and then shoots up? It's not very, right? So when I see a candle come in that's like that big, I think, okay, it's going to go a little bit farther. Not much. I don't want to miss it, but like I can get a better price. So I'll just move it down to here. And it's not invalidating my thesis. I'm just getting a little bit better of a price. Boom, I'm in. That's a good price. I'm happy with that fill. I'm pumped. Immediately, this thing should go higher. And really, if you're playing this thing, you can play it up to here. It's counter trend. I wouldn't be in it, but this ends up being a great trade. So right away, I mean, everybody can take their pants off and start running around their house and knocking their lamps over because this is the greatest 2-candle combo you can imagine. Because immediately you're almost up 2 Rs in 5 minutes. You never were losing a dime on the trade. You were like immediately profitable. You hit your target basically in 1 candle. When I see this thing, dude, I'm out. I just mark it out. Like that's me. When I get something this amazing, I'm out. I'm done for the day. I'm like, thank God, I'm out. Especially if it's counter check. Like if this were to the short side, I'd probably hold it. Like if it got below shit and there was just nothing left, I would hold it and be like, today's the day that could make my month. But especially when it's counter trend, dude, just take it. Just take the money. You just got the best 2 candles. You couldn't have hoped for anything better than this. So just take it. But let's see what would happen. Can anybody predict and tell me what they think is going to happen next? Does anyone want to grab the annotate tool and draw Mr. Squiggles on the chart and tell me what they think is going to happen?
I think it's gonna drop a little bit, then go higher.
Can you grab that annotate tool and show me what you think is going to happen? Draw it on the screen.
I want an iPad. This is gonna be very hard for me.
Okay, never mind. If you're on the iPad, it's going to be hard. You can try it, but if it's crazy, don't worry about it. Anybody else have
I'm
an
just
idea?
thinking because the moving average is gonna act as a resistance, and
think so, too.
then it's gonna go back higher.
I think so too. Anybody want to take a stab at it with their annotate tool? We just want to continue. Okay, we're gonna go.
Still trying to
All
work
right.
out what the annotate tool is, isn't it?
Oh, so Rich, you go up to like the top of your screen, like somewhere up here, and there should be like a little bar, and then it looks like this, kind of, and then you just grab the annotate thing, and then you just draw.
I'll take a stab at it.
Was that you, Shep, in the green?
No, that wasn't me. Who
So
did
that was
that?
Rich.
That's
Rich?
exactly what I was gonna do.
That's
That's
pretty good.
exactly right
That's
in the
pretty
middle
good.
of that big candle.
Here's how I would draw it. When we get a close like this, I'm thinking, okay, it's going to go a little higher. Same thing with, remember when we got this candle and I was like, okay, it's going to go a little lower. It never just turns around. It never just turns around. Almost never. Because you got to think, people are still buying this thing at the close. They're buying it up until the last second. So it's going to go a little higher. But then I agree with you guys. It's going to retest somewhere down in here. And it may even come as far as down to here and just do nothing. Because remember, keep in mind, we had this is already a pretty big move. I mean, this is pretty strong already, right? So let's see what would have happened. Okay, we got that little pop. Top is in, people. We should not take out that candle before we get an S curve. We should not. Now you guys are all right. We should come down here, retest these moving averages, retest this level now. And then from there, do I think we come up here? No, I don't. After this little thing, I don't think we come up there. I mean, maybe later in the day, maybe 3 o'clock, who knows? But I've been at the gym. I've already eaten. I've already done all kinds of stuff by 3 o'clock. So, but I think the top's in. I don't think that we get above this now. That I see this, because this should, if we were going to, there should have been another strong close and then tried to make a move. But now we see, okay, it just fizzled out. And not only did it fizzle, but it fizzled right here. It fizzled kind of at the top, just kind of where we thought it would, right? So at this point, I think the range for the day is in. I think this will be the high, this will be the low, and we'll trade in here somewhere the rest of the day. So immediately I'm like, okay, well, I'm done with this chart because there's no real, I don't really have an edge. Like there's not gonna be any surprises. Nothing's gonna happen fast. We kind of see where everything's gonna be for the day. So let's see what happens. A little higher. Okay, went a little higher. I'm surprised. And then there it is. And what happens? We stay in that range pretty much all day long till the close. So yeah, you could have gone long again at the same spot and you could have made another 2 Rs, but not my style. You could do it. Not my style. Any questions? Anybody think that's cool?
So
Very cool.
The question I've got was with your original short, because I would have been looking at the candles back up.
You would have been looking where? Oh, at this stuff? What about it? Rich, I think you're on mute, man.
Oh, right. Yeah, right. Yes. Sorry. I would have been thinking that over here would have been a resistance level. But you had your target down here, which would have been below that resistance level.
Mm-hmm.
This is with your original short. So I would have probably been looking at that thinking I wouldn't have got into it because it's going to have to break through that, which is sort of seems to be the point that it's turned around before.
It already did, right here. It already broke it, right here.
Right. Okay.
I agree with you. So if I take a short, if I do take a short up here, am I going to try and hold it down to here? No, probably not. I'm probably going to get out right about there. Probably, because you're exactly right. Even just because we put the low in, if we do retrace, I don't necessarily expect us to make a new low a day. We could, but like I agree with you. I'm probably looking at this as a profit target.
Yeah.
Maybe. It depends. I mean, there's a lot of context. If on today's particular trade, if I would have got filled up here, I would have taken it early. The fact that I got filled here, yeah, I'm thinking, okay, now I'm expecting this to happen. I'm expecting that. But if I'd have got filled up here, I would have been out already. I don't need to hold it all. I just want to hit a target that I think is likely and is enough money for me. I don't want to squeeze every last penny out of a trade. So if I get in up here, I don't even care about this anymore. Because if I get in up here, I'm at 1.5. Just this, like this, you're right, Rich, is so much more of a high probability that price gets to here than down here. I totally agree. You're definitely right. So that's why I'm going to take my profits here. And if it goes here, great, cool, awesome. I already locked in 1.5 right here. If I get in up here. But because I got in down there, I just have different eyes. I just have different eyeballs for it. I still think it's likely that it triggers me in, then it comes down here, and then it maybe bounces like this. But more often than not, I'll have some signal telling me I should get out down here and take my profits. Plus, I'm going to be profitable and my stop's protected. So if I don't make $1 billion on the trade, whatever, I still think it's a decent enough trade. I still think it works. I still think it's worth an R. I still think I can hit an R. I mean, I'm at 1.25 here, and I don't even need to get down to there, you know?
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I don't ignore it, but.
So the key was really that first candle just broke through that resistance, so it's invalidated effectively for that trade setup.
It's not completely invalidated. It's just I'm not looking at that as the bottom because I just I just saw that it's not the bottom. It's still a completely valid level of support and resistance. I mean, if as we continue to trade, we saw that price retested this level. It's still valid. It's still in play. It's still there. It still needs to be monitored. It's still a level of interest. You still need to see how price interacts there, but it's not telling me that price can't go any lower. If price would come down here and bounce off this thing perfectly, or maybe throw in a wick down here with some volume, okay, this is probably the low. That's probably the low. The point is now in here is the low. But like when I get a close below all this, when I get a close below here, I now know, okay, like we can go lower than that. Do I expect a new low of day? That'd be nice. And I know that we can. That's all that means, basically.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
So why did you pick Shopify to trade when it was kind of like inside day candle over any
Yesterday?
other stuff? Like this candle, like not this candle, this chart, why did you pick Shopify to trade today?
I don't know. I got to my computer at like 9:22 and
You
like
saw it, okay.
clicked through a few charts. And then like at 9:30 after the first 5-minute candle had formed, as the candles are forming, I'm looking at the charts, I'm just clicking through, looking at the first candles. And by the time 9:30 had come in, I already saw that like most candles put a bottom in. I'm sorry, most charts had already put in a bottom. Like so many things just sold off. Like, I mean, look, there's bottoms everywhere out here. Bottoms, wicks, big moves, bottoms. There's just bottoms everywhere. That was the one that I saw. I was like, okay, this doesn't have a bottom yet. I can still see this going lower. And I don't need it to make a new low a day to get an R. And it still needs to retest. And the retest is still in play. I don't have this crazy hammer that just came in at support like all these other charts that I'm fighting against. Like Tesla. I mean, you could have taken, but see, it's too far already. Like it's like a price. If with these two candles, price shouldn't come all the way really up here, but there's nothing in the middle to like give it a nice. Like it's just not as pretty. Oops, sorry, locked myself out.
So if you're getting like right there with Tesla, if there are two of those big bearish candles, because this is what I was telling you the other day, I struggle with sometimes, is where to place an entry. Do you play, if you get two big candles like that, are you saying you won't even try to trade it, or are you going to wait and see what's coming next, or what, you know what I mean? What?
The only time I'll trade the short answer is basically I look at this chart and immediately know I'm not trading it. Because it needs to make too big of a move to do anything bullish. And if I try to go bullish down here, then I'm counter trend and I'm just a million miles away from everything. Like it makes no sense. But it's also already plummeted so far and then throws in this little wick. Just don't really love it. It's just too far. And there's nowhere for me to it's too far to like if it comes all the way back up here to trigger me in, then like the range is already defined pretty much. And I mean, it's just like if it comes all the way up here, it's probably gonna like rest and like it's not gonna like really move too much, I don't think.
So pretend, all right, ignore the fact, go back to those two candles there. Ignore the fact that it's Tesla. Say this is a downtrend stock. Big moves are not unusual. So those aren't necessarily, they're big candles, but it's not out of the ordinary. After that, and you're in a downtrend. So after that first bearish candle, you're thinking, all right, it's a continuation. Would you set up an entry off of that initial big candle?
This one?
Yeah.
I would probably let the next candle form a little bit because this is a shaved bottom. So if we just started going immediately higher out of here, I wouldn't like it because it's a shaved bottom. It should go lower.
It shouldn't go higher. That's correct.
No, it can go higher, but it shouldn't immediately go higher. It should come down and do something. And then, but if it does that, now we're looking at a bull S curve. There's no reason for me to short it. So like the fact that this is a shaved bottom kind of turns me off, kind of, because now I know, like, I'm not going to set one up. I mean, it doesn't necessarily turn me off, but I'm not going to just set an order up like this, just based on this candle, because it's a shaved bottom. I want to see what's going to happen. So I see this candle come in, I see a wick. I'm like, okay, it's not out of the realm of possibility yet. Maybe something like this I could see if this thing, if like the moving average starts to come down a little bit, like, okay, I could see something like this. This could still work. And then I see this. Nope, I'm done. Look at that
Yeah.
volume. Look at it. I'm not shorting this
So-
thing.
So with that setup, with the way that you're expecting that retest to happen, it's in smaller chunks, basically. You're looking for it to put in 3 or 4 bull candles to fill you and run out of gas and drop back down, as opposed to 1 or 2 large bull candles.
No, not necessarily. It doesn't have to be 3 or 4.
Well, I'm throwing out a random term, but you said no, you don't like that, right?
I don't
there.
like to get filled on just one usually. I usually like
Right.
it to be like 2.
Right.
But if I get filled on one, so like if
So
I get
with
filled
that
on
one-
one, I set the trade up early. Because like
Yeah.
I didn't see anything. I would have had to set the trade up only seeing a bear candle, which I don't
Yeah.
do very often, because then that's how you get things like this, where okay, I just got triggered in and immediately the trade's not going. Like if I got triggered in on this, I'd immediately mark it out at break even.
So right there, the reason being is because you've essentially got 2 hammer candles with 2 lower wicks, and then that one has tremendous amount of volume with it. Is that what you're saying?
This is not a hammer. This is not a hammer. These are not hammers.
Oh, well, all
Why are
right.
these
So
not
then
hammers?
some people, all right. So I've seen some that say shave tops with that lower wick would be a hammer. And then some say hammers have to have little wicks on top of them.
Bruh, these aren't hammers. These are not hammers. These are candles with wicks. They just have
What-
wicks.
So
They're
how
not
do you,
hammers, because remember what we talked about. A hammer pierces a level of support or resistance with volume. You can have a little, and just from a candle perspective, like I would call this something like an inverse hammer.
yeah,
It looks like hammery. That's more of a hammer than even this is like a hammer. But dude, hammers are a dime a dozen. They don't mean shit unless they're that one actually had some volume. I don't know what time of the day that was. 9:30. That's why it's the first candle. It doesn't count because it's the first candle. But look at all this shit you have on top of it. So that's not gonna work. If that was up here, whoo, it's a 10 out of 10. All that
Yeah.
volume, it pierces through this stuff. There's all the moving averages are below it. It pierces through, like that's a 10 out of 10 hammer. But just where it is down here, it's a great hammer if it's up here.
gotcha.
It's still a hammer, but it's a great hammer up here. These though
Yeah.
are not hammers. These are just
See,
candles
that's-
with wicks.
And see, that's interesting because some stuff I've read and people I've listened to and things I've seen would call those hammers
I wouldn't.
because
Yeah, I wouldn't.
so to you, the hammer has to penetrate support or resistance and probably has a little wick on it on the top, upper wick.
In order to play a hammer, yes.
Yeah.
Just to call something a hammer, it needs to have like a little tiny little upper wick, and then
Okay.
a body that's like, I don't know, like half the size of the lower wick or like something like that. Yeah, like a body that's smaller
Yeah.
than the lower
No,
wick.
no, totally get it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, literally think of Thor's hammer, and that's
Yeah.
a hammer. But
Yeah.
the thing, but like we talked about earlier on your trade, a hammer it's a dime a dozen. It doesn't mean shit
Right.
unless
right.
it's in a good spot.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're gonna play hammers, play them like we talked about, where it's like the first or second candle. Like if you get triggered in on an inverse hammer, consider yourself really lucky. You got a great fill. But like for the sake of the continuation, I'm not looking for those.
So to go back to why you would not like that on the retest, is it simply because there's too much volume?
Well, it just looks to me like the bottom's in.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing looks strong. I don't know that. I mean, I still don't think it's gonna like do this. But when I see, okay, oops, dang it, I did it again. So, but when I see this sell off, I think, okay, price should go lower. And then I see this and I'm like, okay, it's not going to go lower, but it shouldn't go higher. So it's probably just going to do this. So I'm not trading it because it's going to be boring.
Gotcha.
And let's see what happens. Yeah, pretty much a fat ass nothing burger
Yeah.
all day.
Yep. Yep.
Because nobody has an edge. The
Yeah.
Bears just tried and they're like, okay, well, there's a bull here. And the Bulls are like, okay, well, we're not going to go any lower. We're just going to try and fight it off. But like, look at all this shit. Now, tomorrow,
That's a lot of compression.
if we get to pop up. So I'll show you a Thor's hammer. I'll show you the hammer of dawn. Move this thing. We get oh yeah, something like that. Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I might want this. Hold on, let me see if I can draw it so that it is like literally perfect for me. No, that's not quite right. Yeah, something like that, man. That's pretty good. Oh
Yeah.
my god. With volume that's like with like this much volume. I'm taking that hammer every single time.
Yeah.
Just like this. Taking it just like this. And I'm playing it up into here every time. And I guarantee you, I will have 1.5 Rs within 15 minutes. This trade
It's
should
like-
come down to retest and then it should explode. It should explode out of here.
So if you look at the daily for Tesla, it's a hammer on 50 SMA on the daily.
Okay, watch it for a long tomorrow.
Yeah, see that that green candle? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Dude, that is a nice hammer.
Interesting.
I do not swing trade, so I will not play that hammer. But, and I won't even necessarily take this thing long. I want that hammer. If I don't get that hammer, I probably won't play it. Well, and that's because if I don't, well, I don't know. Let me see. Let's look at this for a sec. So let's remove all these drawings. Okay. So if I get if we get some kind of like gap or something like that, and I get a bull candle up like this, now what am I thinking? Somebody tell me what I'm thinking now. Oh, and there's volume.
What are you thinking as far as the sentiment of the day, or I mean,
Both. What am I
it's going to be
thinking
a
right now?
retest. There's going to be a retest. It's going to be retest, reclaim, and resume.
You're goddamn right, probably, Shep. So how am I setting this trade up? Somebody show me.
If you're going long,
Yep.
set it up on the.
And I know it
retest.
right now. I know it right. If I see this candle, I'm setting it up right now.
So where's
And
my
it can
Entry
have a
about
little
halfway
wick,
down?
too. It doesn't have to be a shit. It could have a little wiki things. It doesn't have to be amazing. Well, actually, I probably don't want to lower them.
So what would your, so this, all right, so that's also a good question, because this is something else I was telling you about the other day, the entries. So would you go down here to prior resistance and say it's going to retest that right there? So that's where I'm going to set my entry, and boom, boom, and there it goes.
Not that low. I wouldn't set it that low. I'd set this low. Set it here.
All right, right here, because that's going to be the first level of resistance. Yeah, I see that. I didn't go back far enough to the left. I see that.
Oh,
Interesting.
thank you. You already cleared. Okay, here we go. Yeah. So if I get a candle like this, move this thing out of here. So yeah, if I get a candle like that with volume, I'll probably get it at a discount. I'll probably do something like this.
All right, so let me ask you this: why would you not say, well, what about right? I'm not very good with this little tool here.
What about up here? Is that what you're gonna ask?
Yeah, like right here. Well, that's not much of a yeah, that's not a retest. So you're kind of just, all right, I see right there.
No, it
Yeah,
could rest there. It could rest there, but now I have no RR.
that's right. I see what you're saying. So you're kind of going back and looking at past resistance.
It's all about the zones, baby.
Old resistance becomes new support.
Zone. Yep.
So where
Zone.
that's, yep,
See all these
Yeah.
zones I just drew? All these little pockets.
yep. And so that old resistance level is a good entry because it'll become new support if the trade is going
And-
to do what you want it to do.
And because this is telling me I can go higher,
Yep.
and this is telling me I have until here.
Mm-hmm.
All this to make profits. This
Mhm.
candle needs to retrace.
Hey guys,
It
I gotta
doesn't-
run.
well, it doesn't
Thanks,
need
thanks, Lance. I'll
All right,
leave you
Rich.
to it.
I'll send you the
Sorry.
recording, man.
Cheers, man. That'd be great. Thanks.
Peace, dude. Thanks for coming.
Glad I could
So-
make it. Thanks, man. I learned a lot.
Yeah, man,
So
for sure.
slowly piecing it together. Hopefully.
You got
I
it, man.
pray.
You got it.
Same here, Rich. Have a good night.
Cheers, guys. Thanks. Bye.
So now to your point, Shep, if we get another candle like this, I probably just won't take the trade. Or maybe, I mean, but you could make an argument that this is still a good trade. Like that you would use this pivot and then something like this. Because now
Yeah.
you get in on this pivot and you still have this other pivot to protect your stop.
Yeah.
It's not as good. It's a little high for me. I like to get it on the first move. If I miss the first move, I'm just done.
Mm-hmm.
I don't take the second move. I don't take the third move. If I miss the first one, I'm done. It's just life's easier that way for me. Do I miss out on a shitload of money? Probably all the time.
Well, there's a shitload of money to be made, but or lost. And I'm losing it. But yeah,
You are
so
not.
I hadn't been thinking in those terms of entry. I've kind of just been placing it on the candle instead of kind of looking at old resistance or support to place it, and yeah, that makes sense.
No, did you? I mean, you need a reference.
Yeah.
Like, why try to see the future? Like, just
Look
close
at
your
that.
eyes and say, what is this today's chart going to do? Like, it's impossible. But you can literally see what people are doing. Like, there's no secrets until you're at like all-time highs. You always have an idea of what the hell's going on. This just reclaimed all this shit. Bada boom, bada bing. Easiest trade in the world. 1.4 Rs. I guarantee you I have that shit in like 10 minutes.
Well, and
Guaranteed.
if I would have taken just that right there into consideration, that canopy growth trade today, I would have either lost significantly less or been able to break even on it because my stop would have been significantly higher or my entry would have been much higher than what it was. And just, I'm looking at the chart right now, looking at the old support and resistance levels. I was way too low on my entry, shorting it. And that's what got me. If I'd have been higher at this old resistance level or support level, however you want to phrase it, it would have been, I would have had a much better chance.
We're
But
gonna
see,
look
I
at that
get
whole trade
worried.
in like 2 seconds. We're
I
gonna
get
look at it
worried,
in 2
the
seconds.
price isn't going to fill it, so I got to chase it. I like to.
The minute that comes into your head, say,
Yeah.
I'm gonna put the order right here, and if it doesn't fill me, good.
Yep.
I don't
Yeah.
want to be filled. And,
Yep.
and then you saying that, the market gods will be like, huh, he doesn't want to be filled, let's fill him.
Let's fill him. It's that reverse.
But we're going to talk about that in 2 seconds. I want to just get one more thing out while we're playing. So when you get something like this, I almost always take these profits right here immediately. As soon as I front run this level right here, I take the profits because almost always what happens is this pops and then it comes back down and retests another one of these pivots. So you could easily, and then it grinds all day higher. That's what it does. It almost never hits this and then just rockets. It almost always hits this and then comes down and retests. So, but if you do the stuff in your back trading, try try to take the profits here before you get to this resistance, and then just wait. Try to, if you want, get back in, or just take your profits off the table and just watch how often it comes back here and then takes like an hour or two to get back to where you just were, and then either grinds all day higher to the next little level or just fails and stays in a range. Pay attention to that when you're back trading. It happens all the time. So that's why I take my profits almost immediately. As soon as my target gets hit on these little things, but I front run this resistance, I'm out. I'm taking my money. I bet you it retests. I don't ever get back in, but you could. And this just happened with one of my friend Cam's trades the other day we talked about. I forget what chart it was on. Okay, let's go look at that. Let's go look at that CGC trade. You had to set up something like this, didn't you?
Give me 2 seconds. Hold on.
Take your time. Does anybody want to go back to Tesla? Have any questions on that or anything?
No, but
No,
I
I'm
have a question.
Alright.
We'll wait. So I was doing a trade yesterday and I got out. Well, I want to say too early. I think my exit was for the wrong reason, but wasn't a bad spot. And the wrong reason I'm saying, because I got a shaved bottom. I'm saying, okay, so it was a short, but it's basically shaved
what chart?
bottom. SPY 5 minutes. It was yesterday, and it would have been the first green candle after all the reds. Yeah, that candle. I got out on that candle, and I got in at the break of the first red candle to the to lower. Yeah,
You got in. You got in like this.
Well, actually at the bottom of the first red candle, like at the close of the first red candle. Yeah. So I was going in here, I was going short. And when I saw this green candle, first of all, the red candle closed strong and it kind of reversed super strong. And my mistake, I did not wait for that green candle to close. I just saw it coming back up and I just clicked market exit. And looking at it, well, it's 4 red candles. Okay, I'm just trying to justify it to myself, but I should have waited for it to close.
Mhm.
Not necessarily.
That was my mistake.
Not necessarily. If you want the money, take it. Who gives a shit? If you want the money, take it.
Yeah, but yeah, I missed out on a lot. That's how I was looking
But
at
that 4 candle thing that you just said, if
Yeah.
that's the case, then take it here. Don't let it trade back up.
Yeah.
If you're saying, okay, I got 4 bear candles in a row, I better get the hell out of here, then just take it there. Don't wait for it to trade back up. If that's what you're using, it's saying, okay, I better just take this off the table.
No, I should have stayed in it because it didn't hit my 2-hour target and I knew it was going to go down. But that candle, because of the shift bottom on the red, and then it started reversing super quick, I just got out instead of waiting for it to close. And
Yeah.
If I stayed in it, I would have
Yeah.
stayed longer in it.
Well, bro, when you
You
got
gotta
into
expect a
this trade-
pullback though.
Yeah. Tad's right. And not only that, but you got literally, I don't know, the best entry possible. In fact, I would have never taken this trade. You literally got it above, like you got it too good. Like, because it had no inkling, and you had no inkling that this trade could have or should have worked at this point. I mean, why did you take it?
It's my strategy, and I have very high success rate on it. Which basically,
What is your strategy?
It's actually just on SPY. I take the breakout of, not always, but basically the breakout of the first 5-minute candle, either direction it takes. And I'll take it based on 2 hours, 1.5 to 2 hours. And if it reverses, I'll take it the other way.
Why did you get in down here instead of here?
It's
said you got
the
in
first
here, right?
candle. Yeah, I got in here there.
But isn't this the first 5-minute candle?
No, it was the next one. Whatever. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
this is
That's the one.
9:30.
I got in. Right. That's the one.
So you got in right here, in fact.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well then,
Yeah,
where
so
was
I
your stop
exited-
right here? Did you play it just like this?
Right.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
What's your success rate, Fadi?
It's pretty high. I mean, it's using this strategy, I may get, like in 10 trades, I may get 1 or 2 red days.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And just a 5-minute candle, whichever way it breaks.
Usually, so I've been playing around with it. If it starts inside day, right in the middle of the range, I'll go with 15 minutes. I'll let it run for 15 minutes to decide.
Mhm.
If the first candle, like today, first candle was $2 range, and I'm not playing it because SPY moves about $4.
The first candle was what?
Was $2. It's $2 range today. It was a
$2,
big
okay.
candle
Mhm.
today. I don't want to
Mhm.
play it. It's just too big. But usually, if it's under $1, I'll play it. If it's a gap up, gap down continuation, if it's in the middle of the day, like in the middle of previous day, then I will just wait for 15 minutes and make a decision. Like today, I did not play it.
Well, yeah, to your point, Fadi.
I do get wicked in and wicked out every once in a while. But like if I get wicked in one direction, it's going to go the other direction. I'll get 2 hours or 1.5 hours the other direction and get my money back.
But this would have hit your 2-hour target.
Yeah, it was something like that. Maybe it did, and I was waiting for larger because I thought it's going to continue, and that red candle kind of scared me. And big part of it, like I wanted to get bigger because I made a mistake the day before and I lost 2 hours, 2.2 hours. So I was trying to get my money back.
You got it back. I mean, bro, look at this though. Like everything we've been talking about today, do you see how like you had every reason to hold that trade until it's just like infinity?
Yeah, I have a problem.
It should retest this level and then it should boop, 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 down into
Yeah,
here.
I have a big problem looking left while I get tunnel vision once I'm in the trade. Yeah, this thing goes. I mean, I would have hit 3 hours, 3+ hours.
Oh yeah, here's 3 hours right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but bro, you gotta understand. This isn't a common day on SPY, right? I mean, we're in a sell-off type situation. So keep that stuff in mind. But yeah, I mean, you would have made a lot of money on the trade. That's cool. Right.
Yeah, it's been playing out fine. Like like I said, sometimes I get wicked in and reverses on me, and I just take the other side. I get my R plus.
Dude, are you playing these with options?
No, regular stocks.
You gotta have the biggest account in the entire world. Look at this tiny little stop. That's so many shares. It's so expensive.
It's a lot. If you look at it, it's like I take like 250 shares, 150 shares.
641 shares, bro.
Based on your account size. I don't play my full account. I only play with a third of my account because I don't want my emotions to get in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So my R is like 150 right now.
Oh, okay. So you have the account, you have the buying power to buy. I see.
Yeah. I just don't want to. I don't want to. When I used to play with it with harder, like when I had the 600 R, when I get stopped out, it messes around with my head. Yeah. So I was like, I'm going 150. Let's see what happens. I actually went to 100. When I got comfortable with 100, I hit 12 hours last month. So I added $50 this month. So if I hit 10 hours this month, I'm gonna add another 50 and move forward with that.
Nice. So go ahead. Well, I was gonna say, do you see how, like, when you take trades like this on SPY, and you just play like this like one candle? Do you see how this is like? I understand that you're obviously winning more than 50% right now, but do you understand that inherently when you just set a trade up like this, like you're literally locking in a 50-50, like you have no edge basically?
Yeah, I know. Yes.
Okay. As long as you understand that, because you'll have ups and you'll have downs, and you make it up with the 2R. If you're getting 2R on every trade, then that's fine.
Yeah, it's so if I play the 5-minute candle, I'll get 2 hours. If I play 15-minute candle, I'm getting probably 1.5 hours. And the only reason I'm playing this one because I still have not gotten good at the other strategies. So I'm trying to get in profits while I figure it out, or while I'm learning. And hey, if it's working, it's working.
Yep. Cool. Yeah, bro. Nice.
Amen.
Don't be surprised when you get those 9 losses in a row, though, because it happens.
Once I
Yeah.
get 2 losses in a row, I'm gonna pause and try to figure out what's going on.
Yeah,
'Cause
well,
it's,
but dude,
yeah,
that's the thing. If you get 2 losses in a row with a strategy that's got a 50% win rate, and you pause to see what's going on, nothing. Just keep doing what you're doing. You're gonna have dude. You can have like 10 losses in a row if you're taking a strategy that's 50-50. Your drawdowns could be huge. You
Yeah.
literally have to stick to the plan for the math to work. You have to.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you try to change shit up after you lose 2 in a row, and you're doing like, it'll screw your math. Just keep doing the same thing.
Stay with it. Yep. Believe in
I
the
can-
system.
Yeah, and that's what happened the day before yesterday, which is I started mixing strategies and I missed my reversal. So I lost my R and I was like, okay, I'm going to try another strategy that I have not tried before, like back tested it. And I lost another R. And then I started trailing my stops and breaking even and not even. I was like, you know what? Take a break. Day is over. Try to start again tomorrow.
Buddy, I've lost $25,000 in a month doing exactly what you just said. Exactly
Yeah.
what you just said.
Yeah.
So don't do that.
Yeah, right. And that's
Don't
why I
do
was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to stick. And right now, what I do, I started this month creating a log around what did I do, why did I do it, lessons learned, and moving forward. That
I'll be honest with you, buddy. Like straight up, dude, if you're playing that strategy that way, you don't need to journal anything. Like other than your trade for the day. Because if you're playing a 50% strategy, you literally have to say, I'm going to set a 2-hour target or 1.5, whatever you decide. It's got to be over 1. And you got to say, I'm going to set the target right there. And I am going to take the trade at the break of this candle. And that's it. Like you shouldn't be doing anything else. It either hits your target or it doesn't. Like you can trail your stop a little bit, but like you have to understand that when you play a strategy like that, you literally like there's no discretion. If you use discretion, it's going to ruin you. The strategy, like how I'm teaching to trade, is all discretion based. You're talking about a systematic strategy. That is not what I'm talking about. You can't do both. It won't work.
You almost need to do algo.
Yeah, and that's what's burning me. Like I start mixing strategies and start like and whenever I mix strategies, that's when I get burned and I see it and I do it again and I try not to do it again and then I end up doing it again.
Yeah.
But I want to learn like what you're teaching us because this will fail at some point. And I've only seen it work with SPY. I haven't seen another stock that's working fine with. So at some point, it's not going to work. And I want to know how to trade properly beyond the strategy.
Good for you. Yeah, man. I have another guy who just trades Facebook with this like one wonky ass strategy he's got. He's like, it works. So I'm like, yeah, dude, until it doesn't. And then you have no idea what to do. And you have to figure out how to trade. So yeah, dude.
I mean, I want to learn how to read it. You know what I mean? I want to learn sentiment. I want to learn.
I just want to make money. I don't care how I do it, as long as I'm.
Oh yes, Ted, I'm with you exactly. I want
If
to.
you don't care how you do it, then go get a.
It could be the most boring strategy. I don't care if it works. I'll do it.
I mean,
I am great at reading it after
you know.
After the fact, yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I want to learn right now. Like I've started, and Lance knows because I've harassed him enough. But I mean, I'm 3 months into trading live. I mean, I'm 3 months into trading period. And, just ran my numbers. I'm 54% win rate right now, but I was doing that 10 EMA and it was really small wins, not really small, but most of the time, less than 1 R wins and more than 1 R 1 R losses. So it was the win, the profitability one where I wanted it to. So that's, I'm trying to get to where my goal is to be 70% profitable. I know that's like the Nick Saban of trading for you college football fans, but I mean, minimize losses to where they're 0.5 R or less and get my win rate to where you can average 1 R, which I think that's doable, especially with this continuation.
Bro, like everything you're saying, and obviously we talked about this ad nauseum. Like that's what I do. That's how I trade. My win rate's over 70. I almost never lose a full R, and I almost always make over an R. That's what we're here to do. That's how This is it.
And Ryan, you know, I had a good week last week. I had a good month in October on Nike of all things, doing the 10 EMA. I had a terrible month in November on a couple of, like, Fadi, what you were saying, man. I back traded something like 15 times and I said, oh, this works. It was really tight stop. In like 5 minutes, I had lost 2 R's. And I was like, what the, you know, so just stupid stuff like that has set me back. And now I'm trying to fine tune some of these entries and stuff, man, and get better at reading these candles and these sentiments. Because Tad, I'm like you, all I want to do is make money, man. I don't care how.
Yeah, I don't care what strategy I use.
Dude, I'll be the most boring automatic
Exactly.
world, man.
Yeah, the thing about it is, like, some strategies will stop working. So you need to have some kind of, if this stops working during this period, summer, whatever, this market, that market, you need to have enough knowledge to change it or do
That's
another
right.
type
Yeah,
of.
that's true.
And I used to coach football, and it was, you know, sometimes you got good players, sometimes you got bad players, but how can you be fundamental? How can you be sound? How can you make sure you're covering, you know, you're at least doing the right things, whether it's executes properly or not, it's out of your hands sometimes. But that's kind of how I'm trying to get my trading to where I can look at the technicals and say, okay, this should work in any market, or, you know, this candle should mean that. And like Lance and I were talking today, I had a trade. If I would have read the sentiment right, I should have canceled it and never got in it, but I didn't. And it retested like I wanted it to, and then kept going straight up like I did not want it to. So, you know, just learning how to read that stuff better and see that stuff better. So like you said, if Fadi, like you were just talking about, in some markets it's going to change, but at least you have that base of knowledge now to fall back on and adapt and see what's going on and learn.
Right.
Yep. That's what this is, dude. I don't trade a strategy. I trade the chart.
Right.
It's not really
that's
a
what
strategy.
That's what I want to
Chart.
get to. I want to be able to trade charts comfortably.
Yep.
Knowing kind of like right now when we were talking earlier and you said, well, it's going to go sideways or it's going to do that. I was like, I would have never seen it. Well, right now I don't see it, right? And I want to get to that point where I kind of see it.
It's awesome, dude. It's cool. You can do it though, for sure. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty sweet. You can do it.
Let me ask you something. Do you always have your charts like this? This is how you trade, or do you have another monitor like you zoom in for the current day?
No, this is it, bro. Like, this is how I read the chart, point blank period.
Okay.
And then I pop over into, in fact, it's not even like this, because right now I even have it like full screen. I don't even have it full screen. I just have it like this. And then I pop over into here and I just type my little order in, and then I put it on. And then I draw where I got in just to see, like, for reference, so that I can just kind of see it. And then I even manage the trade back over here until I'm coming into an area where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna, like, if I'm coming close to my target, I'll come back over to TOS and watch the candle form and stuff in case I don't know. It's just one of my little quirks. But because, like, if I'm like right there, sometimes I'll just mark it out, because, like, if I'm like seeing the candle like hesitate a little bit, like, that's one of my little things I need to work on. It doesn't really ever bite me in the butt, and I never do it getting triggered into a trade. It's usually always taking profits. Yeah, I put the entry on the chart for the entry. I put the order on, and I have to get triggered in. For the exit, sometimes I get a little wiry and I'll take it off. But that's something I need to work on. But like I said, it doesn't usually bite me in the butt. It actually, in fact, has helped me more than it's hurt me. But still, it's a bad habit. But yeah, and it's almost always on like those quick little hammer pops, because, like, I just see my P&L go up and I'm like, this is good enough. I'll just take it here because it's going to retest. I'll just take it right here.
Yeah.
And it's always over an R, but, like, yeah, if it's like 1.2 versus 1.3, I'm like, all right, I'll just take it. But I shouldn't do that, because I draw the line on the chart and it almost always gets hit. Like, where I draw the target, it almost always gets hit. So I should just leave it there. And I do a lot of the time, but sometimes I don't. Like, if it's early in the month, I just want to take some profits, I'll just mark it out or whatever. Jenny, I haven't heard anything from you. Is there anything you want to look at? Any charts that you're like, hey, I took this trade?
No,
You got-
I actually didn't trade last night because I just could not wake up at 1:30, so I slept. I don't know why I'm so tired on a Monday, but no trading. But I was actually just about to say I have to go because I've got another Zoom at 11 o'clock, which is in 5 minutes.
Okay.
So-
Yeah, I see that. Yep. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
same
I'm
here,
recording
Lance.
in the Zoom. All right,
Yeah,
everybody.
Same here, Lance. I got to take off, buddy.
All right, guys. Let's do it again next
Thank
week.
you.
I'll send the recording.
Good night,
Okay,
guys.
thanks.
Everybody have a great night.
Thanks, Lance.
See you
Thanks,
guys.
everyone.
Thanks, Lance.
Yep. Peace,
This
guys.
is great. Thank you.
All right, buddy. See you, man.
Thanks.